to the video. My name is Madhu. In this session, I will be demonstrating how to manage financial transactions in Zoho Books. We'll cover creating customers, vendors and items, followed by invoice entry, credit notes, debit notes and expense recording. I'll be using a test organization with a sample dataset for demonstration purpose. Our client has asked us to demonstrate invoice entry, credit notes, debit notes, and expense recording in Zoho Books. However, before we perform these steps, we need to set up some essential records, specifically creating customers, vendors, and items. This ensures that our transactions are properly structured within the system. So let's get started. We are on Home tab of Zoho Books. To create a customer, we will have to navigate through Sales tab, then go to Customers. To create a new customer, we can click on Add New Customer, or we can click a plus sign here. Here we will enter primary contact of customer, company name, display name, customer type, individual or business, email address of customer, phone number, other details of customer. If customer is GST registered, we will have to treat that accordingly. And address of customer, contact person, customer details, reporting tag and remarks. Once we have filled all the details, we will have to click on save, and this ensures that our transactions are recorded properly. Vendors are the suppliers from whom we purchase goods and services. Moving towards the next step, to create a new vendor, let's click on Purchase, go to Vendors. To create a new vendor, let's click on Add New, or here we can click on plus sign also. We can enter our vendor details from two methods. One is by fetching the GST number, and second is by manually entering the details of a vendor. I'll show you a demo by entering a GST number of Tata Consultancy. Here we will enter the GST number, click on Fetch Vendor Details, check the vendor details and click on Fetch. Now we can see all the details of our vendor: company name, display name, email address, phone number. In other details we can see GST treatment, GST number, and in address we can see the billing address and shipping address, contact person, bank details, custom field, reporting tags and remarks. Once we click on save, our new vendor is added as a vendor. Now we can record purchases and debit notes for this vendor. Before we create invoices or purchase orders, we need to add products and services. To create product and services, let's navigate through Items tab. To add new items, let's click on Add New or a plus sign here. We will have to select if it is a goods or services by entering name, unit, HSN code if applicable, tax preferences, sales information and purchase information. We can add the default tax rates of our items. By clicking on save, we will have a new item in our list. Now that we have customers and items set up, let's create a sales invoice. To create a new invoice, let's click on Sales tab and go to Invoices. We can click on Add New or the plus sign over here. To create a new invoice, we will have to enter customer name first. For instance, Green Life Hospital. We will have all the details regarding the customer. We can select our invoice date from here. We can add our items and add our items in bulk as well. For instance, I'm taking here BP monitor, medicines, stethoscope and wheelchair. We can customize our quantity of products from here. And click on Add Items. Now we have all the items over here. Since all the items are GST registered, we can click on appropriate tax rate for that. Now we have the data for this invoice. Now we will click on Save and Send Letter. We can schedule our email to send the invoice. I'm not scheduling it. We have the draft of the invoice. To add this in our previous invoices, we can click on Mark as Sent. Now we have this invoice in our record. Let's move on to credit notes. If a customer returns a product or we need to adjust an overcharged amount, we issue a credit note. To create a credit note, let's click on Credit Notes under Sales tab. Click on Add New. Here we will have to click on the select the customer name. I'm taking the customer Green Life Hospital. Invoice number, reason of credit note, let's take the reason sales return. Add an item, BP monitor, click on tax, then to save, click on Save as Open. Here we have successfully created a credit note. Now let's create a debit note. A debit note is issued when we return goods to a vendor. Zoho Books refers to debit notes as vendor credit. So to record debit note, we will create a vendor credit. For that, we will click on Purchase and go to Vendor Credits. Now let's click on Add New to create a new debit note. Click on Vendor Name. Add the bill number. Credit note. vendor credit date. Here we will add the item. Select the tax rate. And click on Save as Open. Now we have successfully created a debit note. Lastly, let's record an expense. In Zoho Books, expenses are categorized to track business spending. Let's click on Expenses in Purchase tab. Click on Add a new expense. Select the date, expense account, for instance, cost of goods sold. Amount, I'm taking here 1000 rupees, and paid through Paytm. We are getting services, SEC, and vendor, Tata Consultancy Services. Selecting an appropriate tax rate. Invoice. We will select Save to save the expense. Now our expense is recorded. If we have recurring expenses, we can make the expenses recurring. It will automate our expenses to record in the Zoho Books. And that wraps up our Zoho Books walkthrough. From setting up customers, vendors, and items to managing invoices, credit notes, debit notes, and expenses, we have covered the essentials for keeping finances in check. These tools make bookkeeping seamless and efficient. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thanks for watching and happy